Good morning, dear students. Up till now, we have already discussed the process of gametogenesis, that is, the formation of gametes in human beings, and we have also discussed in detail the menstrual cycle. Now, after the discussion of the menstrual cycle, we will discuss if a sperm is able to fertilize an ovum, what happens and what are the processes that would follow that. As I hope you all remember, the process of fusion of the male and female gamete is known as fertilization. Syngamy is fusion, the fusion between the male and the female gamete, and the whole process, like transfer of the male gamete towards the female gamete and then the fusion occurring, is known as fertilization. After fertilization occurs, what is the product? The product is a zygote. This zygote is formed right in the fallopian tubes. Once the zygote is formed, it slowly moves down from the fallopian tubes into the uterus. As it enters the uterus, it gets embedded into the walls of the uterus. And what are the layers of the uterus, if you recall? Yes, the innermost layer is the endometrium. So endometrium has got developed because the corpus luteum in the ovary is secreting the progesterone. With the high level of progesterone in the body, the endometrium is intact. When does it degenerate? Suppose the ovum is not getting fertilized. At that time, it gets degenerated, and due to the degeneration of corpus luteum, the hormone progesterone reduces in the body. As a result, the endometrium shreds off. But this time, since it has got fertilized by the sperm, the corpus luteum does not get degenerated. Instead, it maintains the endometrium. Now, when this fertilized ovum has reached the endometrium, it gets embedded in there, and there are various changes which occur. So, let's see what are the changes, how do they occur. The male discharges semen high up in the female's vagina, close to the cervix, during coitus. This is also called insemination, that is, the deposition of the sperms. Now, fertilization is internal, as we have studied earlier also. The male discharges semen, and this semen present in the travels right long way through the uterus into the fallopian tube by swimming in the fluid. Now, the egg is released from the Graafian follicle, and the egg has reached the fallopian tube. At that time, if a sperm goes and reaches the ampullary region of the fallopian tube, then only the fertilization occurs. You can see here that the sperms are moving into the fallopian tubes, and if a ovum is present, it would go and fertilize it in the fallopian tube. During copulation, that is coitus, semen is released by the penis into the vagina and is called insemination. The motile sperms swim rapidly through the cervix, enters the uterus, and finally reach the junction of the isthmus and ampulla of the fallopian tube. This is also known as the ampullary isthmic junction. If during that time an ova is present there, which has just been released by the ovary, because we have already discussed an ova can remain active, or it is its life is just for 24 hours. If an ovum is present in the ampullary isthmic junction, then fertilization would occur. If the sperms reach and the ova's lifetime is over, that is beyond 24 hours, then there will be no fertilization. The sperms can live for 2 to 3 days. In fact, in some cases it has been found to live for 4 to 5 days also. So, it is said that from ovulation for 4 to 5 days, that is the fertilization period, and the female is maximum fertile during that period. Suppose the ovum is fertilized by the sperm. It happens only in the ampullary isthmic junction. The process of fusion of sperm with an ovum is called fertilization. We have discussed that it is the acrosome that helps in entry of the sperm through the layers around ova into the ova. So there are collective terms known as sperm lysine, and there are enzymes in the acrosomes which help in passing or moving through the layers. That is, if you recall the structure of the ovum, the corona radiata, which is a thick layer of cells present around the ovum. So these enzymes help in penetrating through the layers to enter into the ovum. Now, calcium plays an important role, and there are essential parameters of optimum pH and magnesium concentration, temperature. All these affect the fusion of male and the female gamete. So the sperm contacts the zona pellucida of ovum, induces changes in the membrane that blocks entry of other sperm. See, you can see one thing, even in this diagram, sperms are entering the first layer, that is the corona radiata. But if one sperm has entered the zona pellucida, the whole of zona pellucida seals the ovum, preventing entry of any further sperms into the ovum. That means only one sperm can fertilize. Here is a detailed structure of how the sperm is entering. So the sperm nucleus and the acrosome, they enter the outermost layer, that is the corona radiata. The cells of the corona radiata are penetrated with the help of the acrosome. But then so many sperms are trying to enter the corona radiata. As soon as a particular sperm, after reacting with the zona pellucida, enters the zona pellucida, the zona pellucida is sealed. This particular reaction over here, if you see, when this is also known as the acrosomal reaction. The acrosome reacts with the zona pellucida and seals the zona pellucida, preventing entry of any other sperm inside. As this reaction occurs, the sperm is released into the cytoplasm of the oocyte. It is engulfed by the cytoplasm of the oocyte. The tail, the rest of the region is left behind on the zona pellucida. If you see over here, this is the corona radiata, this is your zona pellucida, this is the perivitelline membrane, and then is the plasma membrane. The plasma membrane engulfs the male gamete and makes it entry inside. Over here in the corner is a real life picture. I'll also be sharing a video of how this reaction is taking place. If the sperm enters the ovum, it is during that time the ovum completes its second meiosis. We had discussed that meiosis 2 is completed only if fertilization occurs. So, when the sperm has entered the cytoplasm, then the cell gets the signal that now it has to complete the meiosis. So, the cell completes its meiosis 2 while the sperm is already inside the cytoplasm. In other case, when the fertilization has not occurred, the unfertilized ovum gets absorbed or it degenerates right before it completes its meiosis, whereas meiosis gets completed only if fertilization has occurred. So, meiotic division of the secondary oocyte after sperm enters the plasma membrane of the ovum. Second meiotic division, second polar body and ovum or the oocyte, nucleus of the ovum and the sperm together form the zygote. The sex of the baby is decided right at this stage, depending upon which chromosome the sperm is carrying. If it is carrying the X chromosome, then the zygote that will be formed will be of a female. If it carries a Y chromosome, the zygote formed will be of a male. Let us observe this. The primary oocyte, which was arrested in prophase 1 during embryonic development, is released during the follicular phase of the menstrual cycle. This undergoes changes and completes the first meiotic division to form the secondary oocyte, and one polar body is released. Now, this secondary oocyte is having 23 chromosomes with 2 chromatids. This is released during ovulation and it forms the ovum. If this ovum is fertilized by a sperm, then if the sperm enters the ovum completes its second meiotic division, releasing one more polar body which degenerates, and the sperm nucleus fuses with the resultant oocyte and forms the zygote. So, the first polar body is formed when the secondary oocyte is formed, and the second polar body is formed when fertilization has occurred. And all these, they degenerate. They do not survive. It is only a single ovum which survives and gets fertilized by a sperm. Fertilization is also a matter of chance, whether the sperms, when they are released in the uterus, whether they can swim up to the fallopian tube, whether when the sperms have reached the fallopian tubes, whether a ovum is present over there or not, with how the acrosome is reacting with the zona pellucida. All these are a matter of chance. If it is all successful, then the fertilization event is success and the result is a positive towards pregnancy. It is the sperm entry that stimulates the metabolism in the zygote. As a result of cellular respiration and protein synthesis increases greatly inside the zygote. Besides the activation of the egg, another role of sperm is to carry the DNA to the egg. So we can also say that After fertilization, the zygote starts dividing, isn't it, to form the new organism. It introduces the centriole, which are lacking in the mature egg cells. The fertilization results in determination of the sex of the embryo. It combines the characters of two parents. Some characters have come with the help of the sperm from the male parent, and some characters are present in the ovum from the female parent. Fertilization membrane developed after the entry of sperm prevents the entry of other sperms into the ovum. So once the sperm has entered the ovum, it will prevent, the zona pellucida will prevent the entry of any other sperm into the ovum. Now we have discussed that the fertilization occurs in the fallopian tube. You might have heard about ectopic pregnancy. Well, this is very interesting. It's not mentioned in NCERT, but then it is very interesting. Ectopic pregnancy is when the fertilized ovum, that is zygote, gets embedded in the wall of the fallopian tube and starts developing right over here. What happens? The mass of cells, it starts dividing. Since it's a zygote, it divides very fast, and ultimately it increases so much in size that it would rupture the fallopian tube. If it ruptures the fallopian tube, there is an excessive blood loss, and this whole process is fatal.